bow with his left hand and very easily bent it, strung the bow, and as he lifted the bow and pulled it, the bow snapped into pieces. So this is the display of the strength of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here we have to understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his potency is inconceivable. He actually makes innumerable planets float in the space. So for him to string a bow was a big thing. But he does these activities, this kind of activities in his pastimes, just to make us understand, somehow conceive, somehow comprehend his strength. When we hear by his will, he is causing innumerable planets to float in the space, we can't quite understand that. But when we hear that this bow, like what it was like, and how easily he strung it, and not only that, as he pulled it up and pulled the string, the bow broke. So, in this way, the bow was broken. And everyone, it has been described also, and that everyone present there, excepting a few, everyone fainted just by hearing the sound. And so in this way, and now the message was sent to Dasarath, to Ayodhya, that Ram has broke the bow of Lord Shiva. The condition was just to string it to win the hand of Sita. But he even not only strung it, but he broke it. And so Dasarath was informed that Janak is going to offer Sita to Ram, and Dasarath with his entourage and family members, they came to Mithila, Janak's palace. The wedding was performed. Ramchandra got married to Sita Devi, and Janak had his other daughter and nieces, two nieces, and they also got married. Urmila got married to Lakshman. Mandavi got married to Bharat, and Shrutakirti got married to Satrugna. So in this way, all four brothers got married. And we have to recognize that since all these four brothers were the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Amshavatars, so their wives also were none other than Lakshmi Devi herself. So while they were going back to Ayodhya after the wedding, all of a sudden there was a terribly ominous signs appeared. Wind started to blow, and all kinds of dangerous signs started to appear. The sun got covered completely by a cloud, as if there were an eclipse. And then they saw a personality, a very powerful personality with copper red hair. And his coming obviously was extremely angry. And they could recognize that this is Parashuram. So Parashuram was another incarnation of the Lord, who actually came to discipline the Kshatriyas. The Kshatriyas became too powerful, and as a result of that, he appeared empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to annihilate the Kshatriyas for 21 times. So he was considered to be an enemy of the Kshatriyas. So when they saw him coming, everyone became very afraid. And he just walked up to Ram and he told him that you were so arrogant. You broke the bow of Lord Shiva. What an insult you have inflicted upon Lord Shiva's glorious reputation. So I'm going to punish you. And let us see what your strength is like. You strung that bow. Let's see if you can string this bow. So Lord Ramchandra took that bow. And when he did that, Parshuram's all the prowess and brilliance immediately disappeared. His body became devoid of any luster. And it is saying that when Lord empowered him, Parshuram is a Shaktavesh avatar, a jiva who had been empowered by the potency of the Lord, Shakti Avesh. So the Lord has invested that energy, empowered him with his prowess, with his Shakti, and now he took it back. Now that the mission has been accomplished, he took away. So Parshuram could recognize. And now he took the bow, he strung it. Now when he strung the bow had to be used. So Rama asked, so tell me, where should I shoot it? Should I? And Lord Ramchandra actually took away, shoot the arrow, taking away all of Parashuram's pious deeds. So that's why although Parashuram is still present, but he lost that power that he became empowered at one time. So in this way, Lord Ramchandra started to now display his prowess, and which is indicating that he is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Ramchandra, they came back after the wedding, and they came to the Ajodhya, all four brothers with their newly married wife. Ram and Lakshman was very, very fond of Lord Ramchandra. They were practically inseparable. And Bharat and Shatrugna were also very fond of each other. They were always together. These two groups, these four brothers, were like, although they were very attached to each other, but they were specifically attached to Lakshman was extremely attached to Lord Ramchandra, and Shatrugna was extremely attached to Bharat. And so this way, some years went by in merriment and auspicious enjoyments. And the whole city of Ayodhya became so wonderfully blessed by all the auspiciousness due to the presence of Lakshmi Devi. And then the whole kingdom was extremely fond of Lord Ramchandra. And naturally, he was the heir apparent, the crown prince. And at one time, Dasharath decided to coronate Ram as the successor to the throne. At that time, Bharat and Shatrugna were in their maternal uncle's house, Bharat's their maternal uncle's house. And so there were some auspicious signs. The ministers told Dasharath that there is some inauspicious signs. So before that happened, just coronate Ram. So it was arranged rather quickly, and when naturally the whole kingdom was dipped in festivity and merriment. Everyone is so joyful that the day after, that the next day, Ram is going to be coronated. All the arrangements were being made, and everybody, the whole city was decorated. Everyone was so happy. Kaikeyi also was standing on her rooftop. She was watching the merriment. And at that time, Kaikeyi's maidservant, who was also like her nurse, Manthara, came and asked, "So, why do you seem to be so delighted? What is happening? Why everyone is rejoicing like this?" So Kaikeyi said, "Don't you know that tomorrow Ram is getting coronated?" And Manthara flared up and said, "Ram is getting coronated and you are rejoicing that. Do you realize what's going to happen when Ram becomes the king? You won't have any importance. And your son, Bharat, will become a maidservant. Rather, servant of, and you will become the maidservant." But Kaikeyi was surprised. Said, "Manthara, what are you talking about?" Anyway, here we have to recognize it's a drama. Lord's pastimes are like a drama. And that this drama actually creates the excitement and conflict, and that makes a drama so exciting. The drama must have two aspects. One aspect is entertainment, and the other aspect is education. A good drama must have, just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes to perform his pastimes, by performing his pastimes, he delights his devotees. He drowns his devotees in an ocean of ecstasy, and he kills the demons. So that's why he actually came. Like, he came to kill Ravan. Ravan was an extremely powerful person. And Ravan had the benediction, the boon from Lord Brahma, that no one would be able to kill him. He performed austerities for 10,000 years. And due to his austerity, when finally Lord Brahma came, then he asked for a boon. The demons generally ask for a boon to become immortal, and no one would be able to kill him. And Brahma tells them that boon he cannot give, because in this material nature no one is immortal. So Ravan actually asked for different boons, and one of the things that he forgot, or rather he thought the human beings to be so insignificant that he didn't even mention the human beings. no one would be able to kill him. He practically covered everything except the human being. That is also that is also the catch that is always there. As we have seen in case of Hiranyakashipu, he got the boon practically to become immortal, but the Lord outsmarted him. So here also, Ravan forgot to mention about the human beings, that human beings won't be able to kill him. He won't be killed by any human being. So the Lord Ram came actually to kill Ravan. That was the prayers of the demigods. And as a result of that, he came. Anyway, so Manthara kept on giving Kaikeyi all kinds of reasons. And one of the main reasons actually was that when Dasara wanted to marry Kaikeyi, Kaikeyi's father, Ashwapati, made him a condition, made him a condition to give his daughter to him, Dasara, that her son would become the successor to the throne. Dasarath agreed, thinking that he didn't have any son. So if she gives birth to a son, then sure, he will become the successor to the throne. So all these points came up, and so due to Manthara's persuasion, Kaikeyi also became affected. Finally, Kaikeyi asked, but Ram is going to become, he is the natural successor to the throne, being the eldest son. So what can be done? So Manthara gave the possible means, reminded her that when Dasarath was fighting against the demons on behalf of the demigods and became very, very injured, very badly injured, at that time, Kaikeyi treated him so nicely that Dasarath became cured. And Dasarath at that time told her that ask for two boons. And Kaikeyi's response was, what can I ask? Like, you have given me everything. I don't lack anything. So you have given me everything. So there is no need. I don't need anything. So at that time, Dasarath told her that if ever you feel the need for anything, please let me know. And Manthara reminded Kaikeyi about those two boons that Dasarath agreed to give to Kaikeyi, and told that with one boon you ask Ram that Bharat would become the king, and Ram had to go to the forest for 14 years. So these are the two boons that she was advised by Manthara to ask. And so she went to the sulking chamber. Like those days, the palaces used to have different areas for different purposes. If anyone was sulking, then he or she could go there and remain in the chamber. And when Dasarath was wondering, where is Kaikeyi? So he was told that she was in the sulking chamber. And when he went there, he found that Kaikeyi has taken off all the ornaments, decorations, jewelries, and she just wrapped herself in just one piece of cloth, and she is lying on the floor. So Dasarath asked him, what happened? Why are you in this condition? What happened? So when Dasarath kept on persuading in that way, finally Kaikeyi told him that, do you remember those two boons that you wanted to give me? Dasarath said, yes, and I'm prepared to give you anything that you want, do anything for you that you want. And then she told that let Bharat become the king and let Ram go to the forest for 14 years. So when he heard that, Dasara, he just fainted. So then when he came back to senses, he asked Koike, was it a dream that you was dreaming? That you asked this? Koike said, no, that was not a dream. It was real. I did ask you. And so again Dasarath fainted. So this is how the whole night went by. The next morning, the preparations are going on. Everyone was looking for Dasarath. Then finally Ram found him in that room. And he saw his father was in a very, very distressful situation. And so when he inquired what happened, Koike told everything. So Dasarath said, Ram, I am not going to fulfill that promise. Let me go to hell, but I can't. Rather, you arrest me, put me in prison and take over the kingdom. It's your kingdom. But Ram very humbly told him that for the sake of a simple thing like the ruling of a kingdom, we should be affected like that and deviate from the path of dharma. I'll never let it happen. You have given your words, and that must be fulfilled. So in this way, Rama insisted that he would follow the promise that Dasarath had made at one time. I mean, we can well imagine how painful the whole situation must have turned into. The personality, Lord Ramchandra, is going to be coronated that day, but now he has to go to the forest for 14 years. A similar situation was Maharaj Yudhishthir is the king of the entire earth planet. And in one day, he lost everything. Not only his kingdom, not only his wealth, he lost his brothers, he lost his wife, Draupadi. Like this is how the Lord performs his pastimes to churn our emotions, to develop our love for him. So anyway, Lord Ramchandra agreed or decided to go to the forest, fulfilling the words of his father. And Lakshman wanted to go with him. Then Sita Devi also wanted to go. Ram persuaded Sita, you never stepped out of the palace. How will you go to the forest, which is so terrible and infested with so many demons and rakshasas and danavas? How can you be there? And the path there, the whole area is filled with thorns and pebbles. How will you be able to walk in that path? But Sita insisted, and as a result of that, Sita, finally Ramchandra also had to allow Sita to come with him. So this is how Lord Ram had to go to the forest for 14 years. And they left. Dasarath was so heartbroken when Sumantra was taking Ram, Lakshman and Sita in the chariot. Dasarath was running after a chariot, calling out, Sumantra, stop, stop. But Ram said, no, please don't stop, just carry on. So this is how that night they came to the bank of Saraju. They spent the night there. That was the boundary of the kingdom. And they continued their journey. And in this way, they came to the forest. And in the meantime, the message was sent to Bharat and Shatrugna that they are needed to come back to the capital immediately, Ayodhya immediately. So when they came back, they found out what actually happened. Bharat was so enraged that he was shouting at his mother, doing what she had done. And then it was decided that Bharat decided to go and bring Ram back. So he went to the forest, met Lord Ramchandra. I'm going very quickly because in 2 classes, in 2 hours to cover Ramayana is a very difficult job. So I'm just touching the important points. And so he told, he reached Lord Ram in the forest and told him, begged him to come back. And Ram completely declined, said, no, I have to fulfill the words of our father. And so when Bharat failed to convince Ram to come back, and so then finally he placed a pair of wooden shoes in front of Ram. And he said that you please step on them. I will take these shoes as your presence, your symbolic representation. And as your representative, as your servant, I will take care of the kingdom. So Lord Ramchandra agreed, and he was given the pair of wooden shoes to Bharat, and Bharat took the shoes and he took them. He couldn't go to Ayodhya because the city was so full of memories of Lord Ramchandra. He couldn't go back there. So he set up a place, his kingdom, or the place of his royal activities in the Nandigram. And as Ramchandra's representative, Bharat actually ruled the kingdom for 14 years. And he wore matted hair, not combing the hair, not oiling the hair. So his hair became matted. He wore deer skin, not royal robes, royal dress and ornaments. He ate only fruits and roots, as one does in the forest. So that's why it said that Bharat's role was actually even more glorious. And of course, Ramchandra's role is Ramchandra's role. But the point is, Bharat's role was less than what Ramchandra's role, what Ramchandra achieved. So this is how Bharat actually set the example of loyalty and austerity. So, and Ram stayed in the forest. He stayed in Dandakaranya for 10 years, and another 13 years, another 3 years, traveling in other places, meeting the sages. That's another reason why the Lord went to the forest. He came to give his association to the saintly people, sadhus, devotees. And many of his devotees were in the forest. Therefore, this arrangement that he would be in the forest for so many years, it was just his arrangement to be with his devotees. Then, at the beginning of, or towards the end of the very end of the 13th year, when they were in Panchavati, another area. So there, one day, after Ram and Lakshman took their bath in Saraju river, and coming to their hutment, then Surpanakha, Ravan's sister, saw Ram, and just seeing his beauty, she became totally enchanted. And she approached Ram, asking him to marry her. And here Ram and Lakshman made some joke with her. Ram told that, look, I'm married. So if you marry me, then you have to be with your co-wife and your life will be hellish. So my brother is alone, so you get married to him. Rather you approach him. And then Lakshman said, see, I'm his younger brother, I'm his servant, so if you marry me, then you have to become his servant and his wife's servant. I'm sure you won't like that role. So you better, although the co-wife, but you'll be able to manage together. So this way, they were joking with Surpanakha. And when finally Surpanakha got to know, she realized that it was actually, they're joking with her. So she wanted to just eat up Sita, thinking that Sita is the cause of this distress. So at that time, Lakshman just chopped off her nose and ears. Bleeding all over, Surpanakha went to his brothers, Khara and Dushana. That forest was actually Surpanakha's forest. Ravan gave it to her. Surpanakha lost her husband. So Ravan made the arrangement that Surpanakha would stay in the forest. And his two other brothers, Khar and Dushan, will take care of her with 14,000 Rakshasa soldiers. So being disfigured like that, crying, Surpanakha went to Khara and told him. Khara was furious. A human being dared to behave like that. And he ordered his 14 very powerful, most powerful soldiers to go and kill this human being. So when they came and ready to attack Lord Ramchandra, Lord Ram told him that go back, don't lose your life unnecessarily. But they wouldn't listen, they were about to attack. Then Ram just, in one go, he released 14 arrows, and all these 14 soldiers were dead. 14 Rakshasas were dead. Surpanakha was watching what was happening. So she went back and reported to Khar what happened. So Khar, with his entire army, then decided to attack Ram, along with his brother Dushan. And so they came. Ram told Lakshman to take Sita aside and take care of her. Ram alone single-handedly fought and wiped out all these soldiers. Only two Rakshasas, one went and reported to Rama what happened. And soon after that, Surpanakha also came and reported. Now, Surpanakha knew about Ravan's weakness, that Ravan was very fond of beautiful women. He was a very lusty person. So Surpanakha started to describe to Ravan about Sita's beauty, an incomparable beauty in this world. And when Ravan heard that, then he decided to kidnap. Surpanakha warned him that this is not an ordinary human being, don't underestimate him. So in a straight battle, you won't be able to defeat Ram and win his wife. Rather, you make arrangement to steal his wife. Then in her separation, Ram will automatically die and your purpose will be served. So how to steal Sita? So Ravan actually went to Marichi, and Marichi was a magician, so he could do anything. So Ravan approached Marichi, and when he told him about Ram, Marichi said, look, Ravan, don't get into any kind of conflict with him. You do not know who he is. And he told his own story, how with one arrow, he actually flung him 8,000 miles away in the middle of the ocean. After a lot of struggle, after a lot of endeavor, after a lot of swimming, he managed to survive. And he said that I was living in a forest, but in the forest I started to see him. And I was so afraid of him that I decided to become an ascetic. So please don't get into any kind of a conflict with him. So, but Ravan chastised him. He said that, look, Marichi, if I wanted your advice, then I would have asked for that. I didn't come here to ask for your advice. I come here to ask for your assistance. Now, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to chop your head off. So Marichi considered that if I go to Ram, Ram will kill me. And if I don't abide by Ravan's suggestion or order, then he'll kill me. So better I be killed by Ram than Ravan. So that's a very common saying, better be killed by Ram than Ravan. So the plan was that Marichi will take the form of a golden deer and will dissuade Ram away from Sita, and then Ravan will go there and steal Sita. So, and that's what happened. Like Ram saw Sita saw the deer, a golden deer. So she told Ram, please get this deer for me. Ram said, look, it must be some kind of a trick of some demon. Because nowhere there is a golden deer, golden deer. So, but Sita kept on insisting. And then finally Ram thought that already this princess is undergoing so much difficulties on my behalf. Now that she wants it, let me get it. And so Ram just chased the deer, and the deer took him at the depth of the forest, sometimes appearing, sometimes disappearing, sometimes appearing at one place and next moment appearing in another place. So this way, Marichi took Ram away. And then finally Ram managed to hit him with an arrow. Being struck by that arrow, the Marichi, the demon, gave up his magical golden deer form and fell down with his displaying Rakshasa. And then he called out, imitating Ram's voice, he started to call out, Lakshman, Lakshman, where are you? Please come to my help. I'm dying. So hearing that, Sita became very perturbed. Said that your brother is in trouble. So please go and rescue him. Help him. Lakshman said, look, already you are told that it must be some demon's magical trick that is going on. So you don't pay any heed to that. Who can kill? Who can cause any harm to Ram? You don't know who Ram is. So when Lakshman started to speak like that, Sita became very insulting. Even to the extent of telling that Lakshman came to the forest in order to see that Ram dies so that he can enjoy Sita. So that was too much for Lakshman to bear. So Lakshman just left. And after killing Ram, he was returning and he saw Lakshman. Surprised, what happened? I asked you to be with Sita and protect her. So Lakshman described what actually happened. In the meantime, Ravan just came as a sannyasi, asking for some harm. And when Sita went to give him the arm, Ravan caught her by the hand and wanted to kidnap her, abduct her, trying to drag her into the chariot. At that time, Jatayu, the bird, who was a friend of King Dasara, he saw Sita in this distress, so he went to rescue Sita. But after a long fight, Ravan cut his wings off, and he fell down, unable to fight anymore. So this is how Ravan kidnapped Sita. So I'll stop here, and so day after tomorrow I'll give the next class also. Let's see how much I can cover. So this is the thing, like you can't, I as you can see, I went quite fast, just selecting some important anecdotes, important happenings of Ram Lila. So thank you. It's already, your time is now 8:40.
9:10.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, 9:10, yeah.
Jayadath Maharaj attended whole class. Jayadath Maharaj is there. He attended whole class.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Jayadath Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So happy to see you.
Thank you so much.
So happy to see you.
My good fortune, get your company.
You're looking good. So, confinement is doing good to all of us. Confinement is doing good to much needed rest. Much needed rest. Thank you. I heard you are giving, also you're giving classes.
I'm just filling in the empty spaces between yours.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So was the sound and everything right? Sound and everything all right?
Yeah, good. Transcendental.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hey.
So I have to give another class soon. Every day I'm giving a class in Bengali. Every day I'm giving a class in Bengali morning and English in the evening, our time. English in the evening. Bengali I am our time. Narrating the stories from Garga Samhita. And in the evening I am giving the seminar. And in the evening I am giving the seminar or classes Uddhav Gita, the 11th canto. Uddhav Gita, the 11th canto.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much
Hare Krishna, Nilamani Prabhu.
for
So
taking
was
the
it
time.
all right, Nilamani Prabhu?
It was wonderful, Maharaj, wonderful, and we all very much enjoyed hearing the class and hearing
Krishna.
the pastimes of Rama. And his mother Yashomati is there. I think she wants to.
Yes, I can see Jasamati. How are you, Jasamati?
Good, Maharaj.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, Maharaj.
You're also looking very good.
Thank you.